Alright, I'm now going to show you another arc build. This one is focused around Getaway Artist. So again, we're going to be using arc, and we're basically going to be using the exact same things as my Crown of Tempest build. So Storm Trance, Healing Griff, Burst Glide, Ball Lightning. You can use Chain Lightning, either one works. I just prefer Ball. Arc Bolt Grenade, and this time it is important that you use Arc Bolt Grenade because it's got the lowest cooldown time. You could flip it out for Flashbang, but I do think that Arc Bolt actually has more use and the Flashbang Grenade in terms of ad clear, which again, this build is focused on ad clearing. So Electrostatic Mind to get those Ionic Traces, and Arc Soul, which you might be wondering, well, we're using Getaway Artist, why would you use this? This actually really helps the gameplay loop, so we're keeping that in there instead of swapping it out for Lightning Surge. So the aspects, again, I use Spark of Feedback mainly for the plus 10 resil, but you can get the benefit of the increased melee damage. Spark of Ions to get those jolted targets to create Ionic Trace, Spark of Shock to make our grenades jolt, and Spark of Discharge to make those arc weapons give us an Ionic Trace. Now you might be wondering with Getaway Artist why we're using Spark of Shock. Because we should be consuming our grenades, but when we go through this gameplay loop, we actually will be able to still throw our grenades while still having it up for us to use to consume with Getaway Artists. So the weapons in this case, again, I'm focused on arc weapons and Volt Shot. You could flip some of these out to not use an arc weapon, but I just use Icolos, and I pair it right now with my Succession and Thunderlord, but really you can use whatever in those other two slots. Now for the stats, actually, we'll do that first. I run Tier 10 Resil and Tier 10 Discipline, and then have a decently high recovery. If you can get this higher, that's great. I could not with getting these two, so we're kind of stuck with that, but it actually works out okay. Now for the mods, we're going to have Heavy Ammo Finder and Scout again. Again, I always have a Finder on. Because I only need Harmonic Siphon, I can fill this out with Heavy Ammo Scout. Now, if you did choose to use something else that you're getting kills with, like a kinetic weapon, feel free to swap that out for the Scout. Now, on Getaway Artists, it's very, very important that we just fill this out with Kickstart mods, as many as you can. Technically, actually, I probably could do this. Yeah, let me do that. So I have 3 Kickstart mods. That way I can get it back as quick as possible. On the chest piece, all resist mods work fine. I really like Charged Up. I think it's a great mod, just giving you that extra armor charge. So I throw that with 2 resist mods. And then on the boots, I do need to change this because I have not updated this season. So I'm going to throw that there, throw this here. So I'm going to have that Arc Weapon Surge to give me that extra damage to my Icolos and Thunderlord in this case. Recuperation to give me health anytime I pick up an orb. And then Restoration to give me a little bit of energy to my smallest thing. You could swap that out with any of these, including Absolution if you have space for that. And then on the class item, again, just Utility, Kickstart, and Reaper, kind of basic there, but beneficial to the build. Alright, so let me save that real quick since I did make that one change. Now let's go ahead and run this Lost Sector. I'll show you the gameplay loop with this. Alright, first thing you want to do when you get here is just automatically consume that grenade. Your Arc Soul is on a 20-second timer with this, which you get a lot of time on that Arc Soul. It also makes you amplified, so you get the benefits of that right off the bat. Now you can see I already have my grenade back, so I'm actually going to throw it and use my Rift to get my timer reset on my Arc Soul. Now you can stand in this as long as you want, or you can just keep moving. In this case, we're going to keep moving. It's very important that you proc your grenade first to get the Sentient Arc Soul. The Sentient Arc Soul is actually a little bit better than the normal Arc Soul. So again, I had plenty of time on my thing, but saw an opportunity to use my Rift. and throw my grenade to refresh. And here we are just slaying out. Tons of add clear potential with this. Again, we can refresh with our rift and use our grenade instead of having to consume that. And here I am going to consume it just so I have a little bit longer time, because we got a lot of adds coming out of here. Alright. Now this is kind of the weakest part of this build, which is why I use the Succession and Thunderlord just to get that damage for bosses. Throw my grenade here and use the Arc Soul from the Rift to recharge. And yeah, there you have it. That is the Crown of Tempest build. Really fun. The great thing about this is it is universal. Where the Crown of Tempest build, you have to use a arc weapon. I could switch this out and use whatever in here, and it would still work just fine. Obviously, in that case, I would want to change this. And I just switch it to Spark of Instinct. But really, whatever one is kind of neutral game based. So obviously, I'm not going to use something like this if I'm not using an arc weapon. But yeah, there you have it.